All right, so I'm gonna give you an update on the blizzard of 22. We didn't get much snow. It is snowing out. I'll turn this around so you can see it. That's what's going on outside here. I'm in the shop. This is what is going to be the new butcher shop. There's construction going on right now. This is Matt's handiwork from yesterday. He put up all this tongue and groove and insulated it. So it's actually not too bad in here because there's no wind. Outside, the wind gusts they're up there. It's really, really windy. So to be outside and get chores done this morning was, it was a little bit of a thing. You had to be dressed for it and cover your face and cover your neck and everything. But now that that's done, it seems like the clouds have parted and we actually have a little bit of sun. So in here, it's kind of nice. It's not too bad. I looked at the temp and it's 20, but outside it's, I don't know what it would be. When the wind's up, of course, the wind chill factor is a lot more intense and you can't really stay out very long in it. But on a day like today, I'm wearing bib overalls, Carhartt bib overalls, and then a really good thick hoodie. And then I have this jacket over it. This is a sort of a extreme cold. Air Force gives these out. They didn't give them out when I was in, but they gave one to my son and he didn't want it, so he gave it to me. So this is really, really, really warm. Actually, it can be too warm. You have to unzip it a little bit. So what is going right now, what is going right is a lot. A couple days before Christmas, I got to get some Christmas shopping done. No big deal. Day like today, I don't want to really be working outside too much anyway. So it's a good day to go shopping. But yesterday, I knew this storm was coming. They predicted it. And cold is not our friend. Oh, extreme cold is not our friend. So we did a bunch of things that are going to make our life a lot easier today and more successful operation. Because you can have a cold-related problem that happens that just takes everything away, and you're all of a sudden, oh, the water's off, So what I did yesterday was looked after the chickens. We raked out their house because there was a lot of moisture in there and put in all new bedding. And then, shoveled up some snow around the base of it so it'd be less wind in there. It's pretty tight, so I think they're going to be fine. We made sure that the cows had fresh bales. We brought bales of straw into the loafing area and spread that all out so the cows have a place to get in and lay down and they won't be laying on anything cold. I kept a couple buildings heated last night just so there would be no question that the water would still be on this morning. Like the old butcher shop, which we're using for the kind of the milk house right now. So I kept that heated last night and that was good. I stayed up a little late last night because I wanted to keep pounding the house with heat, just keep the wood stove really going. And went to bed at 2. The wind came up. Jill gets up at 6 because Bonnie's barking. I'm under the covers. I don't feel any cold. It feels a little cold on my face, but I'm still half asleep. So she gets up. She gets back in bed. She's freezing cold. I said, "What'd you do? Go outside and go swimming?" And she says, "No, the back door blew open." So it's like 0 degrees and the back door had blown open, which happens when it gets cold here, cold and windy. And so Bonnie was barking because, the house was so cold, and the wood stove had kind of died down. So the house was pretty cold this morning. But you know, it's winter, and we just get up this morning, huddle around the wood stove, and talked and drank coffee and stuff. So everything's still running. This is the blizzard, and yeah, I was expecting more snow. I don't know as I'll even fire up the tractor today. I did everything that I had to do yesterday, so I wouldn't have to fire it up, because diesel engines don't like starting up when it's extremely cold. The plow truck's sitting out. I don't even know if I'll start it up, because we can just roll over the snow right now. And then next week, it's supposed to be in the 40s again. So I'm gonna kind of, instead of just pressing through and wind up having a maintenance problem because it's so cold, I'm just gonna wait it out, you know? Just wait it out and do stuff that I can do. I've got a lot of meat to cut up in here, so I can do that. We knocked down a couple pigs day before yesterday, and before they get too cold, I want to break them down. So it's a perfect space in here. It's nice and light, and it's warm enough that I can work in here. This shop will be heated at some point, because preparing meat is something that you can do in the wintertime, and it's, you know, it's gainful employment. It's a good thing to do. Summertime, not so much, because there's other things to do. But this will be a good thing for us to have once this is completed. I don't think we're going to make any progress on the construction in here today. You can see that nice tongue and groove. Isn't that beauteous? Tongue and groove is the way to go. It's pretty inexpensive, and it looks good. And then we'll polyurethane that. And then we'll put white steel from the bottom of the windows to the floor. So this space is actually, I'll turn this around, it'll be multi-purpose, and I think that's the way to go. If you're a seasonal outfit, if you work your homestead seasonally, I think the way to go is make your facilities so that they can be dual use. So we wouldn't have meat hanging in here in the summertime, obviously, but we might want to have the chairs set up in here, and then somebody standing down there and addressing a crowd about, you know, soils or food preservation or something like that. And, or we might use this space for a class. You know, this big table right in the middle, this is a work table, and this wouldn't be used for butchering, but the idea of having a big table in the middle, right down the middle of the shop, I really like that. So I think we're going to develop that idea for Homestead Hog Harvest. You know, and I got some other equipment in here that I just can't have outside right now, like my motorcycle, and table saw's got to be in. But here we are heading into the first of the year, and I had a guy ask me if I would do some kind of inspirational message to go on his show, and it's his name is Scott Kesterson. He does this podcast and show. It's a show. It's called Bards FM, and so I've had to think, okay, what am I going to say? Well, I'll just make something up that sounds inspirational, but I don't want to do that, and I don't think he asked me to do that. He's asking me for some real live input that is inspirational for going into the new year. Now, people that listen to this are probably not people that are in, you know, auto manufacturing, right? You're people that are striving to a more sustainable lifestyle, or thinking about it, or actually doing it, or you would have never found this channel. And so I'm talking to you all. And if you want to know if I think that there's opportunity coming in 2023, I'd say more opportunity in 2023 than in 2022. You just have to step back, quit listening to what the morons are talking about, and observe what is really happening. right? So the other night, we took milk into Cadillac, milk shares, and I think we took like 14 gallons of milk. And I don't normally go, but I went with Jill so we could go Christmas shopping afterwards, and the boys didn't have their Taekwondo. So I went, and I will say that the people that we interfaced with is like what we've been seeing in our adult education classes. We're teaching people some of the skills that's beneficial to homesteading or small farming, whatever you want to call it. And the group of people that came to pick up milk, I was actually impressed with them. They had other jobs, but they want to homestead on the side. And I didn't have a chance to interview them all, but they were asking questions about, well, yeah, we understand you do adult education classes, and we want to catch up on that, understand that you're doing, like tribe meetup things where people can come and interface with each other and create community. And that never used to come up. If somebody wanted raw milk, they had a sick kid in their house and they needed it, right? It's different now. It's way different. People have been jolted with the chain of events that we've seen lately. I guess this is all I can think of. Let's see how that works. And I'm optimistic for 2023 because of the people that are getting involved in what we're doing in the homesteading realm. That's what excites me. I mean, I can have a micro excitement in my own world because, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And it's like I set goals for myself and then I achieve them. And it makes me feel good. And my wife thinks that I'm kind of neat for a few days. So I like that. But on the macro, man, if everybody was doing something like this, that could be really good for the country. Because then people wouldn't be beholding to entities that have really let us down in the last couple of years. They've really let us down, and now we know, I don't think we can trust those guys. I don't think we shouldn't rely on them for the security and safety of our families, because look at what they've done. Look at what they will do, and it can be unnerving if you let it go, because that's what tyranny is when nobody will stop and say, no, I'm not doing it. You've got to have people that stop and say, I'm not doing that. Hey, put that over your face. No. What are you going to do? And you just press on. Or you can't do this. You can't raise your own food. Oh yeah? Watch me. See, take your best shot. What do you got? You got to have people that are showing courage in the face of tough times. And then the parasite class that says, well, you can't do that. Oh yeah? Watch me. Because they got nothing. There's nothing they can do. But they kind of psych you. It's a psych job is what it is. And you have to see through that, and you have to overcome that. And that's what I see happening in 2023, because you've got people that are getting involved right now that are not pushovers. And you can't sell raw milk. Oh, don't buy into all the you can'ts. Everything that we're doing in farming, so long as we're not growing poppies, I guess, and making heroin in our shops, we're okay. It's legal. It's not illegal, so it needs to be done. And it'd be one thing if we could rely on the industry the way we used to be able to rely on it, but we don't think we can. They shouldn't have the problems that they have right now. There are people in place that get paid a lot of money to figure those things out. We've got these entities like the USDA and the MDA. They're supposed to be in place to figure these things out. And I'll tell you, the smart ones, They're the ones that didn't actually stay on the farm. They went off to college. So this is up to us. And so my message of encouragement and optimism is within us. It's within this community. Jill's come up with sort of the 3 C's, and I am on board with what she's saying. Competence, confidence, and community, right? So if you're good at something, if you know how to do something, and I'm not talking something like a spreadsheet. I mean, maybe that would be good in some places, but do you know how to light a fire? Do you know how to carve a sharp stick that you can spear a fish with? Well, that probably isn't going to happen this time of year. Do you know how to deliver a baby? Do you know how to stitch a wound? Do you know how to field strip an AR-15? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There's thousands of things that you could know how to do, and they lead to other things that you could know how to do. Do you know how to butcher a pig? Do you know how to butcher a cow? Do you know what to do once you've got it laying on the ground with blood squirting out of a bullet hole in its head? Do you know what to do then? Well, you better know what to do, you know. And the more competent our society is, if we're surrounded by a bunch of people, Americans, that know how to do stuff, there's a tremendous amount of confidence that comes from that. And what does confidence do? A group of confident people, what do? They draw other people. And then what do you have? Community. You know, you get people coming to you and say, well, I want to know how to do this, but I don't know how to do it. Come on, I'll show you what to do. Isn't that what the smart people at the Department of Agriculture are supposed to be doing? Aren't they supposed to be showing people what to do in the face of, you know, a supply line shortage and food shortage and all that good stuff? But they're not. So you can't depend on them. They will probably tell you, oh, you better not raise chickens this year because there could be a bird flu. We isolated it in our laboratory. Yeah, good. But in the meantime, we got to eat, idiots. So just disregard and start to do the thing. Whatever your thing is, do the thing. I listen to a guy once in a while, and he's talked about you need to narrow down your processes. If your thing is golfing, you might want to shift your effort from that to something that you can actually feed your family with. You know, you can golf, but do you know how to purify water? You probably ought to know how to do that. Or have you thought about, gee, what happens if Public Works just shuts the water off in town? What happens then? What are you going to do? Can you melt snow and drink it? I don't know. You should know. You should know. And all these things are knowable. But we're getting all wrapped around the axle about, you know, craziness, just absolute craziness, you know. I can't believe the demoralization campaign that's been waged against the American public. It's insanity. But you have to disregard it and press on with the things that matter. So everything that comes across your bow, your desk, whatever you want to call it, your intellect, weigh it out. And some stuff like, oh, is it legitimate that so-and-so decides he's going to start wearing dresses and he wants to be called Priscilla? No, that's not legitimate. That's insanity. Disregard, hit the disregard button and press on. And start just paying attention to the stuff that matters. And if we do that, then yeah, I'm tremendously optimistic. I have had the opportunity to travel, you know, in my years in the military. And there is nothing like the American public. They throw themselves into whatever it is they want to do. Lately, though, they've been baited with stupidity, dumb stuff. They've been baited with dumb stuff. And the enemy always baits the weakest, and they've gone after the youth. And it's tragedy that, you know, the people that we rely on, okay, you go to university, you learn how to be a teacher, let's say, but you're allowing kids to use litter boxes in schools. You're not going to step up and say, no, this is poor behavior. You're not going to do that. Well, I know a guy that did, actually, my neighbor. He said, no, there ain't going to be any of that. And nobody pushed back on him in that type of insanity. Or I want to be called a different, it's insane. But we have to hit the disregard and let the people who are in place to take care of that. And then we take care of what we're supposed to take care of. And I don't think you can remain silent anymore in 2023. You have to call a spade a spade. If something is incorrect, or you have to call it out. And yeah, you're going to get fingers pointed at you and called one thing or another, but who cares? It doesn't matter. Stay hydrated, stay fed, stay out of the cold, and things will turn. So yeah, I'm encouraged for 2023. When the going gets tough, the tough get going, and I'm seeing that happen. Now, there are people that have come into our orbit. We did a class not too long ago, and I actually said to one of the couples that was in it, like, what are you doing here? Because they were tough people that had, pursued an education, and then they had pursued the jobs where they were and were doing really well, but they were unsure that this was going to be sustainable. That's what I gleaned from our conversation. And as I've stepped back from that, yeah, they may be what people would say, well, they don't look so country to me. Well, yeah, maybe not, because they haven't been. They pursued an avenue, but that avenue wasn't easy. Education isn't easy, but they pursued it, attained it, and then got the jobs that paid the big bucks. But they were saying, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if we want to do this. We're going to buy a homestead, and we're going to start producing our own food. That encouraged me. Because sometimes you kind of wonder, am I doing, I didn't like school. So I pursued these types of things and got good at these things. But there's always that time when you think, well, maybe I should have got that PhD after all. Instead, I went down to Tractor Supply and I got me a PhD, a real nice one. It's got nice long wooden handles on it, post hole digger, and it works great. I've moved a lot of dirt with that post hole digger. So there's my message of encouragement. It's all within our grasp, and I don't expect all of you to be able to, spin up a farm like this. This took me a lot of years, almost 20 years, to spin this up to where it is right now, and it's starting to run kind of smooth. But you can do something. Pick something and pursue it. If you don't know what it is and you need help, get with somebody. Come to our Tuesday night show, the Anyone Can Farm Experience on YouTube. Come to that show. You can type messages in and we'll address those things. So if you don't know where to start, which I could see that you wouldn't know where to start. It is such a vast thing. It's a vast subject. If you don't know where to start, check with somebody that knows. There's a saying, it goes like this: if you want to stay alive, you will listen to those who know. And so then you have to decide, you have to discern, does this guy know what he's talking about? Or is this just somebody that's pontificating about what they think they know? And the internet has a lot of that, because there is so much information that you can just take it in and then spit it back out like you know it. But if you haven't done it, it's a little, I don't like to listen to those folks necessarily if they haven't actually done the thing. And there's another saying, it's do the thing and you will have the power. How do you know if somebody can do the thing? Observation. Does this outfit, does Baker's Green Acres know how to butcher pigs? Yup. Do they know how to butcher cattle? Yup. Well, those aren't just props. We actually did that here. And I'm going to finish those up sometime. Luckily it's cold, so I don't have to worry about it too much. All right, there's my message of encouragement. Pass it on, and really don't listen to those that are giving you this message of defeat. Don't listen to it. Use it as fuel to get out there and start doing something. Growing food, becoming more self-sufficient, building your skills list, all the things that you need to know how to do. And stay tuned, because we'll help. All right, anyone can farm.